Hey guys, happy 2018. I'm in Canada, as you could tell. I am not in LA. I don't think I've worn these for over a year, so we'll see how this goes. Anyway, thanks for interacting and taking the time to comment and receive this video. Last year at the same exact time, I did a Facebook Live, and this was spontaneous action. Actually, I'm going to talk about that. I'm calling it this year, I'm calling it natural action, because I think that word is a little more accurate. So last year around this time, in late December, I pulled out my phone and I did a Facebook Live on how to create actual change. And I spoke about how companies will pay billions of dollars, literally, to get you to think that you need some sort of product, 30-day thing, whatever it may be, to change. And so many companies, specifically in health and wellness, cash out during January because they know that people were fed up with their lack of results last year and they want more results this year, right? So, me seeing that and being how I identify as a conscious revolutionary myself, this is me creating a solution for you. So, enjoy. First off, for 2018 and in general, right? A year, 2018, 2019, they're all just permission slips for us to check in with ourselves. Oh, it's a new year, a new me. What do I want to consider the old me and say no to, and what do I want to now say yes to? Right? So whatever, if this is a year, if you're getting this in the middle of the year, it doesn't really matter, right? These are all just markers so we can do a self-check, which we can do every day if we want. We don't need to wait for a year. But the first thing that you'll need as the foundation of natural action through 2018, this means the science and the psychology of behavior and actual change. The first thing you'll need is direction, right? You'll need direction. Now, typically, and what I probably would have taught last year, is to try and find something measurable. Now, you can do that. It can be a certain amount of money you want to make. It could be a certain place that you want to be in your business. It can be a relationship status. It could be these measurable things. But what I'm more interested in is the energy that those things bring, right? Because the money that you want, you only want it because it's going to bring you freedom, security, abundance. All of those are emotions, right? So all of the things that we want are means to a feeling. And this is actually the 5-day of manipulating and managing and aligning with energy. The 3D way, which what we're moving out of, is to identify with form, identify with the physical. I want this physical thing, that physical thing, right? Not the emotion that is a byproduct of me experiencing that thing. So you can do it either way. Both ways work, right? I've deliberately manifested $10,000 my very first month of trying to deliberately manifest it. And I almost had it manifested exactly $10,000. It's like I was meditating on it every single day, more in the beginning of my coaching practice. And I was thinking, okay, well, if this stuff's got to work, I'm following the formula, I'm doing it every single day, I'm feeling into it. A lot of you that are receiving the video, you know about the power of visualization. And I received almost that exact amount. And I've also just tuned into the frequency and the feeling that money brings me, and I've manifested abundance that way. Trips, people, things, free things sent in the mail. All of it is the same stuff, right? So it's up to you on what you prefer. But the first thing is attune, and this is going to be a big principle. It's not about setting a goal. It's about tuning to an energy. So I want you to think about and write down, you can even pause the video right now, and write down a couple of words that you can really focus on tuning into. And these are going to be kind of the guidelining framework that then you can base your action on, right? Because if those are the feelings that you prefer to experience, then as a byproduct, you will engage in natural action. And the idea of a habit and these old paradigm ideas won't really be relevant anymore. I'm going to go through that anyway at a certain point in a different way. But when you're aligned with the energy, the natural action becomes a logical next step. So like what I wrote up here, and I'm going to look down a couple times because I wrote some nuggets down. Natural action is a byproduct of tuning to the energy that you prefer. So let that one sink in. So anyway, pause and write down a couple of the words. Welcome back if you paused. So, the next logical step, as soon as you can tune into that energy, okay, I want 2018, my direction is going to be moving towards more freedom, more love, more intimacy, more excitement. Then what you're going to ask yourself is, what is the next logical step that is currently available for me right now in this moment that would contain that feeling? And that's it. That's really it. What's the next step out of all the options that I have available to me? Which one has that feeling within it? Right? I could be sitting here, and if I want to go for a walk, maybe my direction, one of mine is impact, right? So when I sit down, and if that's what I'm tuning into, man, I really want to feel that feeling of impact and excitement. Then I start thinking, okay, in this moment, what do I really want to do? What do I want to do? Well, what would be impactful for me to do if that's the energy that I want to tune into? And I might think about it for a second, and then I say, well, you know what? I did think about this technique and strategy earlier that I want to share with people. It would be really impactful if I made a status about that idea and then created conversations with everyone in that status and got on phone calls with them and supported them and heard their stories and whatever it may be. I might start using my imagination. So key point here, your imagination, that faculty was built for these self-diagnosing conversations, right? What is the next logical step that contains that feeling? And let me use my imagination to scan and really attract all of the ideas, because they're physical, all the ideas that would contain that. And out of those, which one has the highest degree of the feeling that I prefer? That is a guiding principle of natural action. Okay, so I'm basically giving you this checklist now to start engaging in natural action. So the idea of, God, I have these things I want to do and these habits that I want to maintain, but I just can't seem to. A lot of that will just fall off the radar because a lot of those are usually obligations or things we think we should do, but don't contain the feeling that we're after anyway. And this is why doing it the 3D, the old way, is usually not that beneficial, because if we say, I want to make a lot of money, but what we really want to do is go take a walk, our physical brain has a hard time linking those together, saying the best thing for me to do to make money is to take a walk, right? Because logically, that doesn't make sense. How is taking a walk going to make me money? But energetically, when you're taking a walk, if that contains the feeling of freedom and abundance for you, and you start entering that state, you're magnetizing money, because that's the feeling that money gives you as well, right? So you might take the walk, and I'm getting a little ahead of myself here, but this is about not judging, right? So when you use your imagination to figure out what is my next step that contains that feeling, the key is to not judge what that step is. Oh, well, this seems unrelated. Oh, well, that seems unimportant. That seems unproductive. All of this programming you'll start witnessing. So it's lack of judgment, feeling into energy. Lack of judgment, feeling into energy. This is more of a next level way of deciding how to navigate your day, but you will receive rapid acceleration this way in all areas of your life, right? Physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, sexually, every way. So what is the next logical step? When you identify the next logical step and you act on it, so you might have some physical ideas too. You might say, okay, I'm building this business and I want it to be kind of here. But the energy of that feels like abundance and freedom, so I'm going to tune into that. Naturally, if you're in a business or if you have a job or if you have a sole proprietorship, whatever you do, or a hobby or a relationship that you want to work on, whatever it may be, if that idea fully contains your excitement, then when you ask yourself this question, usually you'll find there'll be related tasks that you'll enjoy doing. Right? Me making this video as a part of what my purpose is and what my highest excitement is, which is teaching, right? Me setting up this for the video, writing some notes out, getting this light out, all of those things, they were the most exciting, logical next step for me to get here. And I didn't resent or feel obligated to do those things, right? So as you feel into it, and you have these ideas and maybe some set points or goals of, man, I want to make this much money or have this type of business. When you ask yourself, okay, well, what would the next step towards that be? A lot of people call this reverse engineering. Let me reverse engineer and take it all the way back to the next step. It may just be a Google search. You may not know the next step, so it might be a phone call. Call someone who does know. This is when you need to use your imagination. Now, when you use your imagination and you find that logical next step that feels good, right? Then it's about acting on it. When you act on it, you enter flow. So I could end the video here, and that was a recipe for you to enter flow when there's no resistance near what the next step is. Right? Now, it wouldn't be fun if we never had resistance. So most likely we're going to come across a lot of resistance. So as you identify the next step, if you're clear on the physical representation, great. Go ahead and do that. If you're kind of unclear on what it looks like physically, the amount of money, the relationship, the this, the that, just tuning into the energy is perfect. Right? A lot of times we give ourselves crap when we don't know what we want physically yet. We know, I want to feel more love and more freedom, and well, what kind of job do you want? What kind of profession? What's your path? What's your purpose? Right? We live in a society where there's a lot of pressures in that area. You don't have to have something to identify. You could simply identify the feeling. And even when you do have something to identify, it's still fun and powerful to tune in energetically, right? Because you will leave yourself open for surprise. And we're really just working with frequencies anyway. All this stuff is not physical. It's all vibrating energy, right? So you will leave yourself open for surprise. If I only tune into abundance, money may show up, gifts may show up. I don't really know because I'm not focusing on the thing. So as another byproduct of focusing on the energy of the thing, you detach from what it has to look like. This is called living without expectation. So as I'm tuning into the frequency of it, if money doesn't show up, but all these gifts do, I don't judge myself as broke because I didn't judge myself as a failure or in lack of money because I didn't have a definition that said, in an intense focus that said, I need to have X amount of money in order for my manifestation to have worked. But I'm still experiencing abundance in a different way. Right? So just play with this stuff. You can do either one, whatever you're feeling inclined to do. But a lot of times when we're not clear, we can focus on the energy, and it tends to come faster because, number one, we're detached, meaning we don't care what it looks like. We don't even know what it looks like. It's easier for us to be present because we're always looking, oh man, is this it? Is that it? Or this? We don't really know what we're looking for. So therefore, we don't really know if we're in lack because we didn't know what we're in lack of, right? So I found it's easier that way. But it also brings up a lot of uncertainty. So this is a whole different conversation. But I just really want you to feel into those two different ways. Now, as you act on the next logical step, what is the next logical step that contains this feeling, or the next logical step towards this physical goal that I have, or this physical idea, the business, the money, the relationship? What is the next step that feels exciting, or whatever those words that you want to align with are, that feels impactful, that feels romantic? What in this moment contains I'm just going to use the word excitement, contains the word most excitement? And as you find that feeling and you act, you get flow. Now, if you don't act, right, this is basically where it crosses off. If you know what you want to do and it seems exciting to you and you don't act, what that means is, number one, you have a definition or a belief in place that thinks that acting on that thing that you know you want is actually more painful than not acting on it. Right? This is the motivational mechanism responsible for all behavior. Everything I do, I do it to get out of pain and to get towards pleasure. So I'm not acting on this thing. That means even if I think I want to, I want to, I don't know why I'm not doing it. You literally just told yourself, you don't know why you're not doing it. I have a subconscious belief, right? There's something I don't know that's keeping me from doing it. That's always going to be a subconscious belief. That's telling you, oh, well, if you did that, that's actually more painful than staying here and not doing it, even if it doesn't serve you. So a lot of times we get positive reinforcement for negative behavior. This is where we get really messed up. Hey, it's better for you to stay on the couch and watch the TV because if you do take the next step on your business, you may get made fun of. You may fail. Oh, you stayed on the TV. Good job. Ooh, get your chips. Watch your thing. Oh yeah, you're killing it, man. You know what? This is good because you're relaxing right now and you're kind of sick and you don't want to push yourself too hard. I mean, it just ends up piling on. But knowing, wow, I know what I want to do, but I'm not doing it. That means something that I'm believing is keeping me from doing it. So what you're doing is one of two things. You have your conscious self-assessment. You can take a conscious self-assessment. And the conscious self-assessment says, what am I believing about this situation in order to feel this way? So I'm sitting here and I'm on the couch, and what I really want to do, I scanned all my information, all my options, and the one that was most exciting was to do a Google search on how to write a business plan for my business. And I wanted to do it. It's exciting, but I just can't do it. I'm procrastinating. I'm sitting on the couch. In that moment, as the first step is, oh, well, I'm aware I'm doing this. Let me become aware I'm doing it, right? Or else it's a habit. And a habit is something that you're unaware that you're doing. So once you become aware, then you have the ability to change and to choose. So now I'm aware that I'm thinking this thing, that I'm wanting to do this, but my ego, this other voice, is telling me not to. Okay, I'm aware now. Second part, what must I believe to be feeling this way? What must I be believing? Now, if you just tune into yourself and ask yourself, okay, well, if I were to act on this, what's the scariest thing that can happen? What's scary about acting on this thing? What am I afraid of? What must I be believing to be experiencing fear, to be experiencing procrastination, to be putting this thing off? And then you answer the question. Is it rejection? Is it guilt? Is it persecution? Is it judgment? Right? Fear of failure, all these things. Tune in. As soon as you find what that thing is, and then here's the second question I'm going to give you just so you can go a little deeper. You ask that question, and then you ask the question that if you couldn't find anything, you ask, well, how is this behavior that I don't want to be doing actually serving me? How is sitting on the couch serving me? If I can't stop it, how's it serving me? Well, if I'm on the couch, I'm not doing the business plan. And if I'm not doing the business plan, that means I'm not going to get rejected, all these things. Right? And a lot of time it's hard to give up comfort for greatness. Right? So, self-assessment. Answer those questions. When you can identify the belief, you're 99% done. Sometimes just once you identify it, automatically you see through it because the darkness and the density of a belief can't survive in the light of your consciousness. So I identify the belief, wow, I'm afraid of behavior. I'm afraid of I'm afraid of failure. And then in that moment, the second part is letting yourself feel it. So a lot of times we think it's bad. This is where judgment comes in. So the second step is to feel it without judgment. I'm going to allow myself to feel, wow, okay, failure, what's that feel like? I'm afraid of it. I must have experienced it before, or it got passed down to me genetically, something. It's in my aura somewhere, so I've experienced failure. What does that feel like? Right? Because emotions will only be integrated when you are allowing them to be validated. And all that means is once you decide to fully feel an emotion, it leaves. So that's the second step. I'm going to let myself feel what failure feels like. Oh man, I remember that one time, or I could just feel it right now. If I failed, they'd say this and that. And just tune in. You could do it for 10 seconds. I don't want you to dwell and create this, but just spend some time being okay, feeling that dense vibration. Instead of saying good or bad, just call it dense, because that's what it feels like, right? Weight, heavy, dense. So I'm just going to feel this dense emotion without judgment. It's not good or bad, but I'm going to acknowledge it. I'm going to say, this is here, this is real, I'm afraid of failure. And that's okay. I don't have to judge it. I'm just going to let myself feel it. And breathe. Once you do that, you'll notice it's not as strong. And that's very necessary. So you allow yourself to feel it. Third, you find the lie. Okay, so I think failure is bad. Why is failure bad? So this is where you ask the question, why is it bad? Is it bad? Or even, is it true? Those are two great questions to ask. Is it true that I'm going to fail? Well, no. Is it bad if I fail? What's my definition of failure? right? A lot of times we have these out of whack definitions of things that we're scared of. Oh, everyone's going to judge me. Well, what are you defining as a judgment? Well, people saying that I'm really sucky. Well, actually, that's a projection. Yeah, they might be judging you, but it has nothing to do with you. It's a projection, meaning it's coming from them, and it's actually about an aspect of them that they're judging. Always. That's why we never have to take things personal. Side note. So, is it bad? Is it true? Is it bad that I fail? Is it true that I'm going to fail? And I don't even have to give you the answer, because at this point, just asking the question, no one's going to say it's bad to fail. It's bad. Because have you failed before at something and gotten better? Yes. Failure in itself isn't a real idea. It's an ego idea. All failure means is my expectations were crossed. That happens 1,000 times a day, and you're okay, and you only get better, and you only learn. Right? So as soon as you can find a lie that you're buying into, I think failure is bad, that's the lie. Whoa. Logically, your brain has to stop firing that pathway that says it's bad, because logic, right, this is why it takes mind and heart. We feel it first, and then we use our mind. This connection, we're reestablishing this connection. Most of us try to take it on just with the head. We don't let ourselves feel it, and we analyze. You got to go there first, because that's going to create the space. It's going to shift your consciousness to a state that's capable of receiving the answers that you need. Rewind that part if you need to hear that again. That's really important. So you use your brain to create the logic that contradicts the lie. Right? So you contradict the lie. Okay, that lie's not true. And then lastly, you identify the gift. Oh, sorry, there's one after this. I guess number 4, you identify the gift. So identify the gift. Okay, well, I just learned about failure. And that means the gift is now I'm not going to be afraid to fail. So actually my gift is failure now, because I'm going to fail fast. I'm going to fail forward. Right? I'm going to not let my expectations being crossed affect my state of being, my action, my pursuit. That's the gift. Now, what would be great in this moment is if you can give that gift, right? Because a gift is only a gift once you give it. So that's the next step, is new choice. What is my new choice? Right? Now that I know that I'm not afraid of failure, that it was a lie, and it's actually teaching me that it's okay to, and good to fail, I'm going to act, and it might be doing that Google search. Or it might be doing a status about that failure, teaching other people that failure doesn't have to affect them either. That's a great way to transmute very quickly any sort of feeling, right? What I just took you through is a process of integration. And that's as soon as we find fallacy and we find the gift from something we used to fear, instantly it's integrated. Meaning it just won't come up again. Your fear of failure has no relevancy to come up again after it's been integrated. So that's your conscious self-assessment, right? So I notice, I recognize that there's something stopping me from something making me uncomfortable about doing this thing, and I consciously am going to assess what that is. Now, if you do that and you come up with nothing, sometimes we have these subconscious beliefs we can't identify. Maybe because we've been practicing resistance to them for so long. There's a lot of there's a deep energetic charge behind that idea, so we don't even go there. This is where feedback's really important. So you can use feedback and through your imagination to kind of identify what could be there subconsciously. And how you would do that is you would say, okay, well, if I did do it, what would, and you want to use your most significant relationships here, what would my blank say? My mom, my dad, my partner, my friends, my family, my relatives, whoever, my kids, my aunt, my uncle, whatever. What would they say or do if I did that thing? Right? Relationships are here for a couple reasons. Honestly, I don't know all the reasons, but from my perspective, they're here primarily to act as mirrors for our personal growth. That's why it's so difficult to interact with all people, because their whole purpose is to show you what you're holding on to that doesn't serve you. That's really it. And when you're embracing that side of you, by default, then you're just in love, right? because then there's an absence of fear. So if relationships are mirrors, then you're going to ask yourself by using your imagination, what would my parents say? What would my mom, my dad, my friends say or do if I did this? And then you're going to think, man, well, I think my mom would say something like, oh, you can't start a business, you crazy? You're going to fail. Oh my God, maybe I'm afraid of failure. Well, my friends, they might stop hanging out with me because I'm going to have to commit so much time to it, they're not going to hang out with me. Oh wow, I'm afraid of losing my friends. Right? So by using your imagination to tap into your relationships, what may they say? What would they mirror back to me if I did this? What would their feedback be? Right? Because you've noticed the patterns in their energy, you could tune into them easily. Sometimes it's easier to tune into other people than ourselves if we're in that denial state, or if something's deeply rooted in our subconscious. So you use those relationships. What would they say? I did this exercise once and I realized my mom, if I made 50 grand in a day, my mom would say, oh, that's great. Now don't lose it, save it. And I realized that was me holding on to something that said, you making money isn't sustainable. You may lose it all. You can make it, but you might lose it. So I had this scarcity consciousness running as well, that my mom gifted me the awareness to. Right, so that's really it. Now, this is all the foundational structure that you can exist on to engage in natural behavior, natural action. And like I said, natural action is the byproduct of tuning in to the energy that you prefer. So if you want to live abundantly, excitingly, whatever it may be, excitement is kind of the umbrella term, then natural action is just what naturally occurs to manifest that feeling over and over and over and over, and constantly and consistently. And that's what we all want to do, because really planning all of these things, goal setting, writing down, that's all great, but we're going to evolve out of all of it, right? Because as soon as we learn that within our natural state, synchronicity allows for infinite surrender, then we never have to do any of that. We can just trust in the unknown entirely. But right now, that's pretty damn hard for some of us. So these are great steps to start integrating that idea, which I think by 2050, most of the world will be doing. Anyway, next, habits. Now we're going to get to habits. So after all of this, you might be saying, okay, well, it seems like I don't even need to think about those habits anymore. I could just turn this video off, ask that question, and start doing things. And yes, by doing that, your health will be taken care of, your fitness will be taken care of, your relationships will be taken care of, everything that's relevant to those feelings that you prefer will be taken care of. How can it not? If you're following the idea of excitement, how could something non-exciting exist? If you're following the idea of love, how could something non-loving exist? It can't, right? So if being healthy, helps you create more excitement in your life, you'll find ways and attract ways to be healthy. That's why I don't give meal plans anymore, because I know that you're going to figure it out for yourself when you tap into excitement and love. Relationships. If certain relationships are necessary for your evolution so you can continue to pursue your excitement, you'll attract a man. All that stuff's taken care of. Right? They don't need to be goals. It's going to be a complete kit for you. Everything's going to completely line up for you as you tap in. But as a permission slip, you can still focus on it if you want. So habits. First, you want to ask yourself, do some of these habits come naturally through this process? Answer is yes. Is it exciting for me to go to the gym, and is that something that I want to make a habit of? Yes. Okay, great. So I don't need to do much with that. That's just going to happen automatically. It'll be a next logical step when I need it, when I want it. Now, if they're not, I'm just reading this. That's good. So if one of the habits this year you said, man, I want to get in my meditation every single day. And remember, a habit is just I wrote this down, it's beautiful, a compartmentalized pocket of excitement, which I thought was really cool. So if the habit is not aligned, if the habit does not come up naturally, and all that means is you've been procrastinating or inconsistent with the habit, then there's two things you have to check. Number one, is the habit beneficial to the energy that I'm tuning to? Meaning, does it contain the energy that I want? Does working at Starbucks give me the excitement that I'm tuning into for 2018? Does it? If the answer is no, then what you are engaging in is obligation, right? So with the answer, I have all these habits, but I'm never consistent. First thing is that habit something that I actually want, or am I under the false belief that it's something I need? And if it feels like something you need, most likely it feels like an obligation. The energy of obligation is tiring, frustrating, and tiring and frustrating aren't in your 2018 definition or energy alignment. I want excitement. I want joy. Oh wait, those aren't in them. So you're never going to want to do it. So if on a deep down level you don't want something and you're trying to be consistent at it, guess what? It's not going to work. Feelings override will. Always and forever. Will is finite. And there's scientific studies on that. So is the habit conducive? Does it contain the energy that I'm attuning to? If it doesn't, this year, say no to it. Now, if you say no, and you have all of these ideas and fears around saying no, you have to address those first. Do the self-assessment. You have to address, it's not going to be beneficial to you to stop doing something to where once you stop it, you're going to be scared shitless of everything and completely self-destruct and fall apart and then have to go back. You have to check, okay, well, why am I afraid of saying no to this thing? And then go through that same self-assessment process. That's number one. And remember, if it's 99%, it's still not fully aligned. A lot of times we don't sacrifice good for great because there's safety there, right? Remember, you're most safe in unknown. So pursue that. Second, if the habit itself is not good for what you want, for the energy that you want to manifest and experience more of, then the second part is, are you viewing the thing in a way that makes it not seem like it's relevant, right? So it might be, I have this habit that I want to do art, but because it's not, gonna give me what gonna make me money, gonna give me that relationship or whatever it may be, I don't think it's related to my 2018, intention or goal. But the real question is, does art give me, what feeling does art give me? And if that feeling is what if that is what your business is going to give you, or the relationship is going to give you, love, excitement, joy, bliss, then they're directly related, right? They're directly related. So there's 3 reasons that you won't do it. Relevancy is one. I'm going to talk about it a little more. There's 3 reasons why, if you know the habit is good, say the habit's working out, and your intention and the energy you're feeling in 2018 is impact. When I work out, I get grounded, I get blissful, I get motivated, I get creative. Now, tell me, are all those feelings going to be conducive to my excitement? Is it exciting to just feel those feelings? Yes. So is the gym going to help me in my vision? Yes. Now, what I just did right there is I connected my values to the habit. So this is the first reason. The first reason, write this down, is relevancy. Am I perceiving the habit in a way that is relevant to my values? That has perceived relevance to my values. So if the gym is something you want to stick to, you have to ask yourself, what do I really value? This goes back to the feelings. What do I value? Is it family, right? And if I value family, why? Well, connection, relationship, right? What else do I value? Self-love, right? My other relationships, my freedom. Guess what? Freedom, you're not going to be free if you have bad health, right? So you start writing down your values, write down the things that you love most in life. You could start with the physical representation. I love travel, I love this, I love that. And then ask yourself, what feelings do those give you? What feelings do those give you? So what do I love most in life? What do I value most? What attributes? Right? Like I said, my values, creativity, I so value being creative. family, and family is more encapsulated in my relationships. Excitement, my purpose, health, laughter. I can write out a bunch. Actually, I have a whole list that I'm looking at here. So write down, what do you value most in life? Freedom, travel. What do you value most in life? And then what are those things that you value? What emotion does it give you? And once you have the emotions, go back to the habit and say, okay, this habit of the gym, what does that give me? And start writing down the emotions or what you get from it. And you can start seeing if the values cross over. Oh, well, the gym gives me connection to myself, more health, and more freedom. Oh, that's what I want. And then ask yourself this question. If the thing that I want to receive from my habit, if I didn't get it, would that compromise my values? If I didn't have the health, would I be free? No. Would I be able to connect with my family on a deeper level? That's an interesting one. Sometimes, if you're a vegetable, no, not how you'd prefer, at least. So really start diving into this. And all you're going to do here is you start creating relevancy. Why is this action so important for me? And then you can even ask yourself questions like, how is it going to support and enhance my relationships? How is it going to support and enhance my income? How is it, right, all of your values? How is it going to support and enhance my love life? How is it going to support and enhance my creativity? And you're going to build all of these reasons why it's so supportive to your values and really establish that connection. When we know something is extremely relevant to what we value most, it becomes automatic. So number one, relevancy. Number two is psychology. The psychology is an equation called BMAT. B equals M-A-T. Behavior equals motivation times your ability times a trigger. So your behavior is what you want to get done. So I want to go to the gym. I've created a lot of relevancy for it. I'm not afraid anymore. I did a self-assessment test, and I was afraid of getting made fun of at the gym, but I realized that that's just someone else's projection. It means nothing about me. And the gift is now I'm going to fearlessly be an example for anyone else that was hesitant around the gym. And I made a little status about it. Great. Now I'm feeling great. I want to do it. But I'm still kind of like, now what? Right? So there is psychology to this as well. Behavior, you always want to be specific. Behavior is go and work out at the gym for X amount of time, 60 minutes. Okay, now what do I want to do? I want to go work out for like 60 minutes, 30 to 60 minutes. Great. Number one, motivation. Right? Do I want to? How I just told you about motivation, which is relevancy. You just created a bunch of motivation. You know you want to. It's aligned with your values. Number two, do I have the ability to? Now, if you went to the gym and you didn't know anything, chances are you won't want to go because you don't know anything. You'll get there, and then even if then you still didn't know and you couldn't figure it out, it's not going to happen. So you have to know. So number two is, do I have the ability? This is preparation. Is there things that I'm missing that I do not know that if I knew would make it more simple? Right? So the enemy of motivation is actually complexity, not difficulty, complexity. So when something's complex, all these moving parts, I have to figure all this out, right? Think about a math equation. I give you a super long, difficult, challenging math equation. It becomes hard because it's complex. It's not necessarily hard in itself, it's just complex, therefore it takes a lot of time, creativity, and investment, right? So when the complexity increases, so does difficulty, and that's when you push something away. When something becomes simple, then you become more motivated. So what do I need to do? What sort of preparation do I need? Do I need to learn about working out? Do I need to go online, go to Google, call a friend? This is where you take it right back to inspired action. What's the next logical step that I can do right now to work toward that thing that's exciting for me? Call a friend. Do a Google search. Right? Oh, I'm not doing it. Self-assessment. Why not? Oh, because of that. Okay, I released it. It's a gift now. Okay, so now I'm preparing myself. So you do a Google search and you find a great workout and you feel great. Now in that moment, You may not have any reason. You may automatically, by default, because it's exciting, go to the gym. But because there's no urgency in this moment, you may say, okay, I feel so good about it. I'm going to start Monday. How many of you start every single Monday? Right? So even if you're ready and you're excited, you might not start right away. So you have to create some urgency for yourself, or you get to create some urgency for yourself. And guys, I'm giving you the big guns here. You do all this, there's nothing you cannot do. Right? So urgency. What would make me go to the gym right now? Well, accountability is proven. Well, if I call this person we meet every day at this time, that could be a start. Watch about that, because codependency means I can't go without you, and you don't want to create that. It's all about creating interdependency, meaning I can depend on myself and the others around me, but I take responsibility for my life. So with the trigger, that could be something where every time that I get home from work and I sit down to take off my my work shoes, right next to it I have my gym shoes. And I place that there as a trigger, maybe even a little note that says, put me on now. So in my environment, remember our environment, we design the environment designs us back. So I'm sitting there, I look at the shoes, and because I look at them, I'm triggered. Go to the gym, go to the gym, go to the gym. And all I do is I just put those shoes on. And guess what? My chances of going to the gym just skyrocketed. So what sort of triggers can you create to remind yourself of this task, this thing that you want to do in your environment? Meaning it has to be something that you see every day. A mirror, a blender, your bedstand. Put something that's representative of that idea there to trigger that idea. Now watch this. A lot of times if we trigger the idea and we don't do it and we leave, we judge ourselves and we create guilt. Guilt is the number one reason people don't achieve their goals. They feel guilty that they're going to leave people behind, that they're going to have too much, that they're going to take whatever it may be. So watch your self-judgment and your self-talk when this happens. So that's it. When you want to do it, you know how to do it, and there's a trigger that says right now is the time, you automatically do the behavior every single time. This is just the psychology. And last but not least, before I end this, and thank you guys for sticking with me, is the fear of judgment. If something comes up, and I talked about this a little bit before, that you feel excited about, or a habit that you want to keep, but you aren't thinking it might be the most productive, you have to really watch the judgment of that idea, right? Because if it contains the feeling, that's the evidence that you need to know that it's perfect and relevant for you. Everything else is judgment. Feeling, heart, mind, judgment. So as you move through this process, it's going to be very important that you watch what you're judging as good or bad and really tuning into the frequency of it. So that's all I got. I hope you guys got a lot of value from that. And I would watch this a couple of times because it's a lot of information. I tried to say it in a bunch of different ways so it landed for you guys. But let me know. I would love your feedback because every year I'm making and I'm improving on this information. So I'd love your feedback, number one. Number two, I have an event February 17th. So it's going to be a full day event. Everything that I know about integration, right, like what we talked about, which is basically overcoming all your fear in all areas, mainly focused on relationships, money, and personal power. Right, so what am I holding on to these areas that keep them from exploding or being fully representative of what I want? Okay, so that's February 17th. It's going to be a full day event, very experiential, very high energy, very intense energy. There's going to be exercises in there where you will literally feel like you're going to break out of your body. You're going to feel so powerful. So February 17th, go to my website and get a ticket. It's $100 for a ticket, but you get a friend to bring a friend for free. You don't get a friend. Yeah, when you get there, I give you a friend. You get to bring a friend. So it's basically $50 a person. There's 100 seats. So you can go to my website, go to the live event tab and find that. If you're out of state, great, fly out. There's people coming from out of state already. So that's February 17th. I thought I was going to say one more thing. Oh, if you guys like this, I would love your feedback. And if this really benefited you, I'd love to hear about your results, right? Because next year I'm going to create another one. And for me to give this away for free in a bigger way, the number one indicator of whether people are gonna do something is social proof. So far that they figured out in the psychology. Well, if this works for other people, I'm gonna do it. So if this works for you, I'd love to hear about it so I can open the minds of other people that are getting sucked into advertising and being on the hamster wheel of habits and New Year's resolutions. Right? So thank you for watching. Love you, and I'll see you soon. And I hope to hear from you and see you at my event. All right, see ya.